the fuck did we just see? Somebody explain to me what the fuck we just saw. Oh my god. I don't even have the words for it. This was truly history made. I said in my prediction video this past Wednesday that tonight history was going to be made, and boy was it, did it live up to the hype. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm not gonna waste any time tonight. Tonight, the results of Battleground. Tonight, history was made. Let's just get down to it, man. What a fucking night! Kicking things off, the women's North American title, Sol Ruca, and of course Kalani Jordan in a rematch from Heatwave last year. Absolutely incredible match. Those two ladies, every time we see them in the ring, they always put on an instant classic. And boy, did they ever tonight. Tonight they put on one hell of a show. This was actually really interesting because we knew that Zarya was going to get involved, and she did. But I think that was what Sol Ruca needed for what comes next, because Kalani Jordan came so close. There were multiple times where she came so close, hitting the 5-star frog splash onto Sol Ruca. Came this close, Sol Ruca kicked out. It was back and forth, and Sol Ruca at the final moments hit Jordan with the Soul Snatcher, normally from the middle rope. No, she went top rope. A massive soul snatcher to retain the NXT Women's North American title. Absolutely incredible match. I can honestly say that we may end up seeing the rubber match. Like, we need to run it back, like, sooner than later. Like, perhaps maybe at the Great American Bash. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe at Evolution, which I will be talking about that later this week. And there's another piece of news that has also been revealed, which I'll be talking about in a future video this week. I mean, congrats to Sol Ruca. Hell of a victory, and congrats to Kalani Jordan. Hell of a performance. Cannot take anything away from those two ladies. Next up, 6-man tag. The Culling versus Josh Briggs and Josh Briggs and the tag team champions Hank and Tank. This was pretty crazy because you had two different types of teams. On one team you had three guys who were just trying to find their footing in NXT, and on another team you had big meaty men slapping meat. Yep, that's what we had. We had big meaty men slapping meat all over in that ring. And this was chaotic. Like, we knew that this was gonna be chaos literally all over ringside. Boy, was it ever. It was literally pure chaos. Back and forth, near fall after near fall. Spears came this close from picking up a victory for the team, but the closing moments, we saw Josh Briggs hit Brooks Jensen with a massive clothesline from hell, a la JBL, with that hellacious clothesline. And then, of course, the tag team champions hit their double team move that won them the titles, this time using it against Brooks Jensen to pick up the victory. And just when we thought the celebration had started, the Culling decided to crash out and literally just beat the holy hell out of Briggs and the tag team champions. And Spears told Izzy Dame, bring us a chair. Nope. out comes the return of Yoshiki Inamura to literally even out the playing field. And of course, the team of Briggs and Inamura have reunited once again. Maybe we might see Hank and Tank and Briggs and Inamura go at it for those tag team titles. Only time will tell. Next up was a family divided between the Don and the Underboss. And I'm gonna be honest, this is something that I mentioned in my prediction video on Wednesday. This is something that we never expected. We did not expect to see the Don go do battle with his Underboss. We never expected it whatsoever. And this all started when Dark State came back. When Dark State made their debut earlier this year and pretty much targeted everybody, including guys like Joe Hendry, Trick Williams, the NXT champion, No Quarter Catch Crew, the tag team champions. They literally targeted everybody, including the entire D'Angelo family. This led to Luca, Stax, and the Dawn doing battle with Dark State a little over a month ago at Stand and Deliver in Vegas, and that's when it all went downhill. Stax turns on the family. Luca ends up disappearing. Rizzo ends up in the safe house, which completely backfired by the way, which led to tonight. We knew that Stax had played mind games with against the Don, and it was just pure insanity. They were beating the holy hell out of each other to the point where Stax tried to find the typical crowbar, but it was nowhere to be found, and it led to the final moments of the match. Right as Tony D'Angelo hit the spine buster onto Stax, out comes Luca Crucifino just standing there, which distracted Tony D, allowing Stax to hit a wicked knee strike to pick up the victory. And as Stax left the ring, Luca enters the ring, tries to embrace the Don, and Tony D was like, "Nope, I'm good. I don't know if I can trust you," and walks off. So I can honestly say that sometime between this Tuesday and sometime in the next couple weeks, we're definitely going to hear from Luca Crucifino, and we're also going to possibly hear from Rizzo at some point and get their take on this whole ordeal. And we're going to see who their allegiance lies with. Does it lie with the Don, or does it lie with the Underboss? Only time will tell. Next up, the NXT women's title between Stephanie Vaquer and, of course, Jordynne Grace. Two women from two totally different worlds doing battle in an incredible instant classic. This was absolutely amazing. Like, you had two very powerful women going at it to want to be the top dog, if you will, of the NXT women's division, and they were just going at it. They literally brought everything to the battlefield. No pun intended with the show's name, Battleground, but they brought everything to that match, including Stephanie Vaquer hitting the Devil's Kiss onto Jordynne Grace. You know Booker T. Booker T is always having fun with it. You can never go wrong with it. It's a nice little. It's a clear case of Booker T. Being a typical simp. He's just simping. And the funny thing is that his wife Sharmell on social media was okay with it. He was perfectly okay with it. She literally, Queen Sharmell, Booker's own wife, said she's fine with it. She got no problems with it. That right there is proof that Sharmell trusts her husband. That right there is incredible. Shout outs to Sharmell. Booker T simping, you can never go wrong with it. It's just pure comedy. But I will say Jordynne Grace kicking out of the SVB is the craziest thing I ever seen. Hardly anyone, ever since 75 Canner showed up to NXT, hardly anyone has ever kicked. I don't think anyone has ever kicked out of SVB. No one has. Jordynne Grace became the first to do so. This proves that Jordynne Grace was working on a very different level compared to everyone else. And interestingly enough, I must admit, Jordynne Grace proved that even in spite of the outcome, she proved that she could very well get the job done, and it was just incredible. So congrats to Stephanie Vaquer as she hit the spiral tap onto Jordynne Grace to retain the NXT Women's title. But obviously backstage, Stephanie Vaquer got into an argument with a couple of ladies from the promotion AAA, which led to JC Jane slapping Stephanie Vaquer, and she goes, "I'm next." So this Tuesday, it'll be Vaquer versus JC Jane. Can't wait for that. That one's going to be crazy. But congrats to Stephanie Vaquer on tonight. Next up is a match that was very mismatched. On paper, it was a mismatch. In literal and on your TV screens and in person if you were in Tampa that night, tonight, it was quite the mismatch between Obafemi and Miles Bourne. We knew that Miles Bourne was going into that match with a massive chip on his shoulder, and that chip, I think Miles Bourne proved that he doesn't need he doesn't need the NQCC. It's the No Quarter Catch crew that needs Miles Bourne. And I believe that if Miles Bourne broke away from the group, he could be a very, very deadly force to be reckoned with, and not just in NXT but in WWE, which is saying a lot. Literally, that it literally is saying a lot. So I have to admit, tonight, Miles Bourne brought it. He brought the fight. Obafemi was not expecting it, but it took not one but two fall for grace power bombs at the very end for Obafemi to retain the NXT title, and he literally nodded his head to Miles Bourne as a sign of respect. He's like, "Not bad. You got a bright future." So, congrats to the ruler, and for Miles Bourne, nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. But speaking of history, the main event, history was made between Trick Williams and Joe Hendry for the TNA World title. Here's the crazy thing. When I think about the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, I think back to the guys that held that title from when I was watching TNA. I think of guys like Kurt Angle, guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Magnus, Sting, guys like Chris Sabin, guys like Bully Ray, guys like Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett. Who else can I name that was TNA champion? Matt Hardy, Drew McIntyre, who, yeah, if you can believe it, Drew McIntyre was a part of TNA at one point in his career. I also think of guys like Bobby Lashley, guys like who else? Guys like EC3, just to name some. These were the guys that from when I was watching TNA took the TNA World Heavyweight Championship and elevated it to heights unimaginable. Even guys like James Storm and Bobby Roode, they did the exact same thing. And Joe Hendry, when he became champion earlier this year, back in January, he literally re-elevated the title to heights we never thought possible. And tonight history was made because for the first time ever, the TNA World Heavyweight title was defended on WWE soil, and this was incredibly insane. Back and forth, near fall after near fall, between Trick Williams and Joe Hendry. It was all over the place. They literally brought it. These guys brought the fight. And this was by far, in my opinion, one of the greatest TNA World Title matches we had ever seen in TNA history. And the final moments will shock you. And it literally shocked me. A Uranagi to Joe Hendry through the announce table. Trick Williams takes the title, tries to hit Joe Hendry with it, and as Joe Hendry tried to hit that standing ovation chokeslam, thumb to the eye, and the back of Joe Hendry's head landed on to the title, which the referee had no choice but to let it be because it was incidental. It was an accident. And then trick shot to Joe Hendry. Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me right. Trick Williams is the only WWE superstar in history to become TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Now the question becomes this. What's next? What will the landscape of WWE be? Actually, no. What will the landscape of both NXT and TNA be heading into this Tuesday? Because we found out that Trick will be on NXT this Tuesday to talk about tonight. I don't know, guys. I huge congrats to Trick Williams making history. Shout outs to Joe Hendry for being the very first person to defend the TNA World title on WWE soil. All I can say is, once again, we are now in the Whoop That era, but this time with Trick Willie as the TNA World Champion. There's no telling what can happen next. We will have to wait and see. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more premium live event predictions and results in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.